And as you can see on the screen here, we have a wonderful presentation that's been in front of us. And yeah, Chaminda, why don't you walk us through the sustainability charter?
Sure. Thanks, Steve. Morning to everyone. Thanks for attending this sustainability session. This is not the only topic that we are going to talk about today, but I'll start with it. So like I said, I'm Chaminda. I'm leading the sustainability group for AMCHAM. Thanks for giving that opportunity. Today we will talk about our plans about sustainability. What do we want to achieve within the next 6 to 12 months with AMCHAM. Sustainability is a very big topic. I think everyone knows about it. It's globally, the latest trend of topics and discussions. This topic is actually quite relevant to us because transportation sector is the second highest carbon emitter in the world. I'm not going to talk about global warming and greenhouse gas emissions and all that stuff, because if you Google these topics, you can learn much more than what I can tell you. But if we can really focus on the transport sector and what can we do to influence this sector, especially in Hong Kong, being a very large, hub for ocean, air, and all transport modes, I think that's something that we could contribute. So I'm sure you might question if I say that there is no real solution for neutralizing the amount of carbon that we emit within the transport domain, because energy as the first sector emits the highest, and transportation sector. But we talk about electric vehicles, solar roofs in our warehouses, but whatever we do, transport sector is actually responsible for about 20 to 30% of the carbon emissions in the world. You can Google, there are so many material available on the net to kind of confirm this. So just to give a very clear perspective, and I think people who know me knows about this example that I always take, which is actually a science-based calculation. Sometime back, I did a study for Nike, and I took one 20-foot container or 4,000 kgs of air freight that just got delayed from an ocean vessel and had to be converted to air freight, and that emitted 30 tons of carbon from Shanghai to go to their Lakdal facility. 30 tons of carbon, because I think Kirsty can also confirm that air freight emits, based on the aircraft type, emits about 600 to 800 grams of carbon per ton kilometer. So if you take this 4,000 kgs of one air freight shipment, if you calculate based on it takes about 150,000 trees, matured trees, for 1 year to absorb that 30 tons. That 30 tons is actually emitted within 12 hours of a journey from Shanghai to Brussels, maybe 12 or 9, So I think the amount of carbon that we emit within our domain is quite huge, and that's why I said there is no real solution to neutralize the entire amount of carbon that we emit within this sector. So if you talk a little bit as the pitch to this sustainability charter, I think we are expecting more and more LTL type deliveries because the e-commerce is growing so fast. Yesterday I was on a call with Hermes Logistics, which is the second largest last mile carrier. They're saying that right now in this month, they are reaching the same amount of parcels they moved last year Christmas season. So these are all last mile deliveries, which we cannot cover everything with electric vehicles. The Western markets Western world is actually pledging to at least cut 55% of carbon by 2030. We all know that, and US has said they're going to be net zero by 2050. These are huge targets, but this will trickle down to our domain when it comes to carbon. So there's a carbon tax coming. I think Germany recently mentioned that they're going to bring legislation for a carbon tax. And many global brands, like even if you are associating Nike, if you attend the RFQ, they ask for very tangible efforts to showcase very tangible efforts on sustainability if you want to get awarded with Nike Freight. So end of the day, I think what we are all talking about sustainability is we want a better life for our kids, and we must do whatever we can. So our approach to sustainability charter is around these points. So we came up with this vision of what can we do within this sustainability charter. We wanted to actually focus on very specific areas of sustainability, not all of it, because we can't tackle all these sustainability topics that surround us. So and also being AMCHAM, we cannot directly impact. We can only influence and share knowledge. So that's going to be our vision. How do we positively influence our members, our companies who wants to associate us to do something about sustainability. And if you look at this screen, we are talking about environmentally friendly packing and recognizing sustainable efforts. I mean, this is one of the topics that's being discussed widely. Plastics that we use within our industry, are they biodegradable? Can we have different efforts to increase the amount of biodegradable plastics for packing? And especially the e-commerce sector uses a huge amount of non-biodegradable plastics. Can we do something about it? So this is basically our vision, to see whether we can do something. So I think I don't have to go a lot into these details about what is environmental sustainability, economic and social. I think everyone knows about it. Obviously, environmental, we will look into areas where we could influence better decision making on environmental and natural resources and sustainability around it. And some of the efforts that we could take will be influential on economic sustainability, like making decisions. Like, for an example, if a fashion brand has let's say 14 to 15 days of time to move an air freight shipment from, let's say, Hong Kong to Europe, they could pretty well decide to move that shipment on sea air via Dubai, because sea air cuts about 40% of carbon emissions. So these type of decisions will help economic sustainability. And social is nice to have. It's intangible, but that also improves the employee engagement. So these are the three pillars that we have to work. I think these are the three pillars that are widely discussed among sustainability. So the last, probably the last slide that I'm going to talk about is what can we do in terms of sustainability within the AMCHAM working group. And these are only suggestions. And I think when we expand the group, I'm definitely looking out for suggestions and contributions from anyone who likes to join, anyone who likes to contribute. So awareness, I think it's easy for us to focus on creating awareness, online programs from experts, knowledge sharing, newsletters, social media, good case studies. This we can consider as a pathway to sustainability. Like any corporate, any member who wants to get into sustainability could follow these. And then tools for support is basically recommending like expert recommendations, like if someone wants to quantify or approach a science-based carbon footprint. Science-based carbon footprint is basically quantifying your carbon footprint. who can you go to? There are a couple of companies who are members and non-members that they can support how to quantify your carbon footprint. And the third one is policy. I thought to include something in policy because we have, as AMCHAM, we have a good voice in this market where we can probably influence the government on certain sectors. So the easiest sector that we could actually have some tangible benefit or progress is actually looking at packing material. More than happy to get some suggestions on anything else that we could do, but I was thinking, even if it is a very small part of this whole supply sustainability, if we could get all our members to commit to changing our procurement to buying sustainable or biodegradable packing material. For an example, in a warehouse, we buy all our packing material. Can we buy them from a sustainable or a biodegradable packing material supplier? Those are some of the decisions that we could influence through policy. And recognition is basically something that's easy, and it's about encouraging members and companies who are attached to our sector or the sustainability group or AMCHAM to share what have they done about sustainability and give a little bit of a social media boost. It's kind of motivation in some sense for people who are doing good in sustainability to do better, and people who are thinking about sustainability to actually have some courage and motivation to come forward and say, hey, can we try this? Or learn from some of the best case studies and say, okay, we want to do the same. Can you guys help us and give a hand to know how to do it? So that's through social media, and I think AMCHAM has a good LinkedIn page, Instagram and Facebook and all the social media platforms, and we should be able to actually do something. I had a wild idea that we could come up with a AMCHAM Sustainability Award, maybe sometime later, or maybe the second season, where we look at different companies making sustainable efforts, and we could recognize through an expert panel and give them an award saying, okay, AMCHAM selects company X as the best sustainable project. We pick certain projects, but it's a bit down the line. I think it's a bit too much to start with, but I'm sure we'll have plenty of things to do when we start this group. So the last part is basically the working group, just like Steve mentioned. Steve and Frank at the top share this responsibility, and I will lead the sustainability group. But within this sustainability group, it's just my last comments. Don't plan to drag this too long. I'm expecting someone to come from a technical background to support the sustainability group. Technical background means any member or a company who's into quantifying carbon footprint. Someone from the marketing, promotion, social media type of background to come and join the sustainability group, and someone from finance. One of the best ways, there's a famous saying that everyone likes sustainability, but no one likes to pay for it. So recently I made a comment on LinkedIn saying, if we can take these expenses of sustainability and convert them and capitalize them, if you find a way to capitalize, then it doesn't affect your procurement decisions. It doesn't affect your bottom line because you capitalize that, and eventually you can even think about using that sustainability expense or capitalized amount for your goodwill. So I mean, these are out of the box ideas, but I'm sure there are ways to do it. So the last part that I have on the sustainability, and someone to join from an academic academic background, because we believe that one of the institutes or a university somewhere in UK or in Australia or somewhere could design a 2-hour crash course for sustainability, and all our members can sign up, and any company who wants to get into sustainability could use this as the sustainability 101 crash course for their staff, so that they can get trained and at least have some basic knowledge about sustainability, and that's their pathway to sustainability. So I think that's all I have to say about this working group, and happy to answer any questions if I have enough knowledge to answer. But otherwise, I could obviously pass this on to Steve to talk about the other topics.
All right, Chaminda, thank you so much for sharing. I think just discussing yesterday around your knowledge around sustainability, and you listening to sustainability podcast on pretty much on a daily basis. I'm sure there's just a lot of knowledge that you can share to everyone here. And